Hello, my fellow readers. I, Dark Symphony 777, with another fanfiction reading. As always, the link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, and leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the story and any future fanfictions you want me to read currently, as of this recording. So I am doing Take Me to Your Heart by Hokuto Shicheshi. It is a world embryo. I never even heard of this. It's like a manga of some kind. I don't think it's been adapted into an anime. I don't think so. This was just another random story. Like, I do those sometimes. For those of you who don't know, when it comes to readings, I just pick a random one and say, I read this one. So, let's get started. Sure bring back memories. Oh, the blonde 18-year-old took off his helmet, eyes scanning the area for his expected companion. Finally seeing her where she was standing on a high branch of a tree, he smiled. Oi, Rina! Getting no reaction, he said, Rina! He almost sounded like he was whining. At least that made the girl turn. Her face was slightly reddened, whether from the cold or from his whining, he didn't know. Her words hardly matched with her face. Quiet because of the cold wind, even as it was. Don't call me by my first name. He shrugged. Hey, I got a teriyaki burger and a fish burger. What do you like? He held out the translucent plastic bag. She shot him an expressionless glance. Neither. Despite her admission, she accepted the cup of hot coffee for him. Only the soothing, warm drink could get through her iron wall defenses. Oh, what's the situation? He took a bite of the burger and nodded in satisfaction. Glancing down at the beginning they were charged to protect, he focused his attention back on Rina. I just arrived 10 minutes ago. 5 minutes previous, a lone person entered the building. She drank the steaming coffee and glanced down at the styrofoam cup appreciatively. The brew her teammate had brought her was exquisite. Only the soothing, warm drink could get through her iron wall defenses. Just then, a woman ran out of the building, and the young man took another bite out of his burger, eyeing the person with some curiosity. Red hot girl? He asked, squinting in an effort to get a better look at her. Rina shook her head slightly. No, he was a boy. The two of them watched in silence as a man, probably a gangster or someone of that nature, ran after her, shouting crudely. The teens rolled their eyes. Eloquence, indeed. The older boy took off his goggles, revealing amber eyes. Doesn't look too good. It's like there's quite a few people in there. The blue-haired girl nodded impressively. The sun will be setting soon. Let's move. First, though, we're gonna save someone. Her face hardened with resolve, and the boy watched her, smiling to himself. That was his partner, all right. Steadfast and reliable, and also beautiful enough to take his breath away in the midst of a situation. So many people around the world, all around the world. Tell me, where do I find someone like you, girl? He had told her something like that once. He remembered that incident fondly. All because he had been distracted. Rina, he waved at her from afar, and his still commanding gazed steadfastly back at him. She made an impressive sight, with her jinki activated. Takabe, your lake. He reached her side and grinned, still a little out of breath. Sorry about that. Something caught my eye, and this girl started stalking me. It took me hell to get away from while resisting the use of jinki. He shivered at the memory, and to his surprise, Rina let out an uncharacteristic smile. Rina, he grinned at that. She'd always been a refresher from their work. She shook her head. Sorry, but that was rather amusing in comparison. She continued to explain what she had compared it to. I do hope whatever you were distracted by is worth it, because Nagase is mad for you not showing. He blinked and ran an eye through his ruffled hair. Nagase is here? He looked around, trying to detect a sign that the swift whip user was in the vicinity. Take me to your heart. Take me to your soul. Give me your hand before I'm old. Show me what love is, haven't got a clue. Show me the wonders, can't be true. Rina rolled her eyes and deactivated her jinki. He left. Yohei grinned. Just what I wanted. He dug into a jacket pocket and pulled out a paper-wrapped package. Here you go, Rina. The sure girl started working on buttoning back up on her jacket, and Yohei patiently waited for her to finish. Thank you, I suppose. For whatever this proves to be, she started neatly unwrapping the lumpy package. Once she saw what the paper had to reveal, her eyes shot up to meet Yohei's instantly. Takabe. This is... Yohei shrugged. I saw it when on my way here. Reminded me of you. He prodded the adorable wolf plush, attempting to look serious at the same time, but failing miserably. He almost radiated happiness with his explanation, as if knowing it would make sense to Rena. They say nothing lasts forever. We're only here today. Love is now or never. Bring me far away. Rena's reaction, however, was not one he had predicted. I remind you of a wolf? If she shouted it at him, he probably wouldn't have minded, but she was eyeing him with a quizzical expression, although the way she had held the plush suggested she liked it. In any case, this was her worse than blushing uncontrollably, sulking away from him, or both. Believe me, when he'd come across all three situations before, however, not casting him as the male lead. Tenacity, determination, and the way you both hide yourself and your good intentions behind a tough exterior. Her face had taken on a slightly flustered look, but her composure had remained intact. Thank you for the plus, Takibi, but this had better not affect our work relationship. Yoi nodded and grinned. Anything for you, Rena. Anything for you. He paused, wondering if he should say his true thoughts. Her expression said that she had probably sensed him wanting to say something, so he had no choice but to continue. I wonder. There's going to be a Christmas party next week for the members of Flag. He paused to watch her expression, and I was wondering if you'd be my date for the evening. Rena shrugged. I don't mind, she relented, and smiled slightly at her partner. After all, you're the one who asked. Take me to your heart. Take me to your soul. Give me your hand and hold me. Show me what love is. Be my guiding star. It's easy. Take me to your heart. You're close to the boy, aren't you? She asked. Cheeks flustered from the cold of the late autumn wind. Her attempt to hide her face within the collar of her jacket was clearly not working. Yeah, a little strange, but close nonetheless. Yoi sighed, rubbing his hand to generate heat. He was leaning against his bike, standing just a little behind his partner. That's a total paradox, could it be? Rena scoffed, but the slightest smile on her face showed she meant it as a joke. It is, isn't it? Well, Riku's a good kid. I can't let him get involved any further. Yoi's smile fell, and he became serious. Rena nodded faintly. We can't let innocence in on this whole jinky business. Even if it's your friend, Shudikirnu Kanshu. Yoi smiled darkly. Yeah, I know. We'll have to kill him. On the better side, we'll never forget him. Rena lurked distance. This is the power of Jinkei, but this is truly for the best. Yoi reached out to wrap an arm around her shoulder and pulled her smaller body to his. For once, Rena didn't pull away. Standing on a mountain high, looking at the moon through a clear blue sky, I should go and see some friends, but they don't really comprehend. Never thought I'd see you occupy my spot. Rena landed effortlessly on the thinner part of the branch, and despite its protesting sways, she stood firm and steady. It's peaceful, Yohei smiled sadly, and the view, it overlooks the park near Riku Amani's school. I know. Why not go and see him? Rena slipped her hands into her pockets as they were no longer needed for balancing. Yui liked this part of Rena, the straightforward girl who fought alongside him, risking herself in numerous life-or-death situations. It wouldn't help. Not that he wouldn't understand me or why I do certain things. In fact, with him not remembering the entire Kanshu incident in the hospital, it'll be difficult to strike up a conversation without sounding suspicious. His sad smile revealed the honest and dedicated boy beneath the hardened warrior. Rena nodded understandably. I know what you mean, to know things, to know that someone was once. What? Or something, and also knowing it had been wiped from their memories. It's a painful feeling. She now spoke in barely more than a whisper, and Yoi gazed at her, appreciating her comfort. Thanks, Rena. I don't need much talking without saying anything. All I need is someone who makes me want to sing. Pretty abrupt rejection there, Takabe, Rena commented, as he rounded the corner and left the girl who had previously stalked and now confessed to him. Yoi smiled confidently. No point dragging the matter. I'll never like her. And even more so, will I ever like a person who may forget me with my passing? Rena glanced at him from the side. Was that an insinuation? Yoi continued. I'd rather someone who'll remember that I once existed, even if I'm gone one day. Remember who I was and what I did. He grinned at her. That role falls to you, Rena. A blush found its way onto Rena's face. Now that had been hardly an insinuation. Take me to your heart. Take me to your soul. Give me your hand before I'm old. Show me what love is. Haven't got a clue. show me the wonders that can be true. Have you ever had someone close to you die because of something you did? Yoi asked. They were walking along the crowded street, and the area was filled with the sense of delectable foodstuffs. For the two Jinky users, the atmosphere was different. They were tense, ready to make sure that the Khonshu didn't take this place as a kind of holiday feast. Not that the Khonshu celebrated holidays. If they did, the people working at Flag would probably get holidays too. I killed my teacher when she gave me her Jinky nucleus, all because I could turn into a Khonshu if I didn't take it, and that she would turn into a Khonshu if I didn't kill her. I was selfish, wasn't I? I come close. Rena looked away, thinking of her elder brother, who had nearly died in the Khonshu incident of her childhood home. Her brother had been on his deathbed, and yet Rena had given the nucleus of a Jinky, all because the Flag members had reached her home and found her still alive, barely avoiding the clutches of the Khonshu before her, and with the oversized trench coat wrapped securely around her, then proceeded to notice she had the radiance, and then made her worry with her consent. The knowledge that she could save her brother with the power offered being the main factor. However, what they didn't tell her was that this was a lifetime contract, that she would turn into a Khonshu the moment she gave up her Jinky. When her brother still died in the end, she learned to trust no one else's word, to believe only herself. However, recently there were times where she'd been debating about trusting others. In particular, with one man she found herself up and around with most of the time. I say nothing lasts forever. We're only here today. Love is now or never. Bring me far away. I still remember you were depressed through your entire first month in Flag, Yoi chuckled slightly. The sullen girl 2 years his junior, sitting on the rooftop of her own, and without a word or movement, wrapped in her brother's coat, was a sight he would never forget. Rena whispered against the falling snow. Her voice barely heard over the steady crunching of their feet to the snow. That was probably the time I felt the worst of my life. Her words were muffled by her trench coat, but all the same, Yoi heard him. He grinned. And then this boy comes up to you and asks if you'd like to train with him. For after all, he's a Jinky user too. Yoi smiled warmly at the treasured memory. He recalled that it was 5 years ago. Was it? A long time had passed since then. His eyes roamed her petite frame, while mentally compiling his Christmas present to her 3 years ago. He had given her a fitting, knee-length trench coat in the same color as her brother's, knowing that she wanted a keepsake of her brother, and yet was unable to fit into what he had left her. His eyes glinted. She had grown a lot taller since then, the trench coat barely coming up to her mid-thighs now. The older male Jinky users who had a crush on Rena were probably all inward envious, knowing that only his present to the attractive girl was so treasured by her. Rena flashed him a warning glance, a sign that she knew he was checking her out, and murmured, "First meeting." The higher-up soon after decided our strengths combined perfectly to make a good team, so partnered us. Yoi grinned at her. I wouldn't have it any other way. That was when his phones began to ring. He glanced at Nina, and noticed hers were doing the same. So they did show, he muttered to her. She nodded in affirmation, gaze already shifting from side to side to find the Khonshu before it was found them. He tensed himself. Time for combat, now or never. Take me to your heart. Take me to your soul. Give me your hand and hold me. Show me what love is. Be my guiding star. It's easy. Take me to your heart. Shingetsu flashed through the air, and the Khonshu fell. Rena dodged an attack and began a complex zigzag movement pattern that preceded her most powerful field move. Sweeping slashes and deft strikes cleared a greater number of their enemies. Yoi whistled from her from where he too was fighting. Nice, Rena. Don't address me so intimately, the girl replied. She started clearing off the few stray Khonshu still lingering in the area. Yoi shrugged and was immediately swarmed by Khonshu, who left Rena for now. Go after the weaker one, they seemed to have decided. His eyes narrowed as he realized he couldn't fight so many at once. After all, he only had one blade. Unlike Rena, who wielded a 4-bladed shuriken-shaped kansi. Damn, he cursed as a claw pierced his abdomen, and another struck him in the gut. Rena's eyes widened. Takabe! She threw herself into the fray, fighting her way through to her partner's side. She managed to drag him to a safer spot, and then barely having time to glance at his wound, began the more arduous process of protecting the almost unconscious boy. Can you move? She asked over her shoulder. Not too bad, he grinned weakly. Rena continued fighting, somewhat glad her partner was behind her, therefore couldn't see the worried expression on her face. Shaking her head to clear unwanted thoughts, she forced herself to focus back on the Khonshu before her. However, they found that they were up against more than they could handle, and soon enough, Rena was struggling with the effort of fighting off so many at once. She tensed and clenched her teeth. Then, feeling her vision waver, she muttered in irritation, my limit. Just as she felt her constantly give, a lightning-fast whip attack struck the Conchu in the text. She spun in that direction. Nagase, her commander, was standing on a tree branch, twirling his whip in his hand. The long-haired man gave her a playful grin. Yo! Then he maneuvered the whip so he wrapped around Rina's wrist. Waist, my bad. And with a flicking movement of his wrist, tugged her through the air so that she was hanging about an inch beneath him. Rina's frowned face flushed. Let me down already, Nagase, she protested, feeling her face heat up even further as with the older man's comment. I feel like keeping you like this for a while, Nagase grinned at her. I like the view. Rina narrowed her eyes, a contrasting action with the intensity of her blush. I'm warning you, Nagase. She didn't sound as she was joking. Nagase just grinned and shrugged. Take me to your heart. Take me to your soul. Give me your hand and hold me. Show me what love is. Be my guiding star. It's easy. Take me to your heart. You're awake, Takabe. Rina sighed in relief, eyes scanning her partner. Yoi grinned weakly. So am I. Noticing her expression, he continued. Sorry to have worried you, Rina. Said I'm worried about you, Rina shot back lightly. He chuckled. Guess I'll be making it through this alive, huh? If you died so easily, I hardly consider you a worthy partner. The aquamarine-haired girl leaned back in her chair, nursing a stiff shoulder. If I had died, would you grieve for me? Yoi asked casually. Rina glanced sharply at him. It was far too casual a tone for a question like that. Don't say that. But would you? Do I have a choice? Pausing to look at the expectant look on his face, she gave in. Fine. Yes, I will. Yoi smiled at that, closing his eyes with the intention of sleeping. If I do, keep me in your heart forever, alright? Never forget me. His expression became calm. It was clear he was already asleep. Rina's eyes softened at his words. Takabe. She adjusted his blanket so he would keep warm. A possible action flashed through her mind, and she struggled with it for a moment. It wouldn't hurt, right? She watched him sleep for a while, and she sighed. Leaning down, she glanced at him warily for a second, before kissing him lightly on the lips. She pulled away from it slowly, taking her time with the action, before she sat back down. She whispered, Sleep well, Yohei. After all, it was Christmas. So that's Take Me to Your Heart. Anything, aside from, one grammar error, I'm just completely confused on that. It's fine. My main problem, however, I do have one big problem, just outside the grammar. I'm not a grammar Nazi, but I'm just painting this out. It's honestly feels like it's part of a bigger story. It's like, I don't know if the author is talking about the actual manga. Like I said, I'd never heard of World Embryo, so I don't know for sure. But this is another story that's just basically just a bunch of conversation. This is better. This is probably the best of this type of story that I did on this channel. And I actually think it's okay because, instead of bouncing around, it's kind of a consecutive thing, taking place over days instead of a huge time cuts where it's just drastically different situations and drastically different people and tones and stuff like that. It's almost like a very soft, slightly cute, fluffy sort of story. It kept the point what it's trying to make with Yoi and Rina talking about love and stuff like that. This still just feels like this is just part of a bigger story. I don't know if the author pretended to write it this way. This one's just kind of hard to figure out, mainly because it's still cut scenes. There's still unknown amounts of time. There's drastically different time frames of each kind of part. So I don't really know. So the synopsis says AU if you read beyond the first volume. So this is AU, but even then, it still seems like it's part of a bigger story. The author was trying to write something big and complex, and then kind of got flustered, and so tried to just cut up the pieces that he thought would make sense, and kind of tied them together around the song and stuff like that. It's a decent story. Like I won't deny that. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'll probably give this a 3.5 out of 5. It's good. Like it's, it's like I would read this, but it's just there's just something. It just doesn't feel complete. It feels like it's just a bunch of snippets of like a much larger story that the author tried to write but couldn't. And I do have to at least knock off some points on that because it's kind of it is kind of obvious that that's what happened. But I can't take any away from the story. It's even if it's in like a snippet form, it's still a pretty good story. It's still like decently written, so I can't complain about it. But I can't really like it either because it's just that for the same reasons. So that is Take Me to Your Heart by Hokuto Shikichi. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.